Let's model a wagon wheel in Blender and texture it in Substance Painter. Find yourself an image of a wagon wheel that you like. I'll provide a link to this one. And it's always good to have a couple of different images so you can see the different parts. Okay, put that into your scene there and try to get it relatively centered, and then we'll get to modeling this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring in a circle, and I'm going to choose 24 vertices. Go into edit mode. I like to work in vertex selection mode, which is number 1, just so I can see all the dots and it's a little easier to see. I'm going to press S and scale, and I'm going to bring this out so it's roughly the size of the wooden wheel. I'm going to press E and extrude and come in. And it's not going to be perfectly on the diagram, but we're going to get something along that line. Okay? I'm going to press Shift D to duplicate S and scale in to the middle to around here, and we're going to create the hub out of this part. So I'm going to go P, break it out, and I'll have that. Okay, so I'm going to select that. I'm going to look from the front view, and in edit mode on the middle part, I'm going to press E to extrude. I'm going to come up. I'm going to press E to extrude, and I'm going to come up some more, and I'm going to scale in. And I'm just going to hop over and have a look at this thing here. Okay, so there's a straight section here for the hub, and it's going to bend in, and then there's another straight section. So let's just have a look at that. E to extrude and come out. So I've got this straight section, I've got this section, I've got that section, and yeah, it looks like we're ready to go. I'm not quite sure it needs to be bent that much. So let's do something like that. My 3D cursor is right there, so we can go ahead and apply a mirror modifier. And this is where the spokes are going to come off, so I don't know that I need it quite that long. It looks like it's straight from about here to here. So we need area for the spokes to come off, and then we need an area for these metal bands. So I'm going to go into edit mode, and I'm going to just scale this in the Z a little bit, like that. I'm going to turn on clipping, and I'm going to pull this down. So I can get spokes in this area, a little space for the band, and we'll come out to there, back to the reference. Yeah, okay, well, let's go with something like that. Okay, cool. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to switch to edge selection, number 2, Shift Alt and click there, E and S. I'm going to come in like that, and I'm going to come down, and we'll put something in there later on. I'm going to select there, and we're going to bevel that, Control B. I'm just going to put one edge loop there, and let's go ahead and apply that mirror modifier. I'm going to Control 2, and now we'll bring in an edge loop over here, just so we have that. And I'll put another one, so not too tight, nice and sort of rounded for that. A rounded piece of wood. I might make it a little bit sharper, we'll see. Okay, there's a very gradual. Mine is a little bit more pronounced, looks like a milk jug, so that's all right. We can still do something about that. I can take this part here, and I'm going to scale it out a little bit more. Maybe this one, I'll scale it out a bit more like that. That's going to be all right. Okay, I can probably live with that. So that would be our hub right there. All right, and we've got our wheel. Let's go into edit mode, and let's give this a bit of thickness. Press E to extrude, come up, and then I'll recenter it. This part you kind of have to just use your imagination for how thick you want this thing to be. So look from the front there. It's going to be thicker than that. So I'll take it like that, and then I'm just going to push it down. So it's kind of in the middle, and imagine spokes coming out of there into the wheel. and then the metal bands. Okay, so I'm going to scale this out a little bit more. And that's roughly where my wheel's going to be. Okay, we're going to put a subdivision on this as well. We can go ahead and hide the image. We go Control 2. And then I'm going to grab all of these edges and I'll bevel. Control V. And I'll have just one segment in there. Right click and shade smooth. And that's my wheel. Might as well do the tire part right now while we're here. And I can do that by Shift Alt and clicking these faces there. Shift D to duplicate, S to scale it out, P to break it out. I will take this piece and I'll look from the front again. I'm going to make it a bit wider than the tire. S to Z, or taller than the tire. Sorry, this is the tire. Then the wheel is what I mean. I'll try that. I'm going to go E and Alt S, and I am going to push in like that. I think I'll get rid of those faces, X faces, the ones on the inside. And we will put, let's put a subdivision. Let's bevel. Pull, roll my mouse back to 0. So I just get this. Now this is a piece of metal, so I'm going to want it relatively sharp. So I'm pulling close to the edge. Okay, so we've got the metal tire, we've got the wooden wheel, we've got the hub, and I'm going to think about whether I want it quite that smooth as I think about this. I might grab these edges. Well, I guess I don't have one on the bottom. And I might make it a little bit sharper just by pulling those edges a bit closer to each other. Yeah, I think I may do that down here as well. I'm going to take this one. In fact, let's take this one and pull it down like this. And let's make sure we have another one on here as well. So it's pretty much symmetrical. We're going to only see, for my purposes anyhow, one side of this. It's going to be laying against a wall. Let's bring an edge loop just down here like that. And you could have done this in the mirror, but I didn't. So, and like that. Let's create the spokes. Let's bring in a cube, scale it down, bring it forward. And I want to scale it enough that I won't have any overlap of these spokes. Turn this off. And now I'm going to take this face and I'm going to pull it into there. Now, I think I can go a little bit wider than that. I hope I can. Like that. And let's take this face and scale that down so it's a bit smaller. And we'll see about spinning this around. Let's do this though. Let's scale this in the Z a little bit bigger like that. All right, so we got the room for metal bars there and our spokes. Cool. Let's put a bevel on this. We'll go for 0.01. My 3D cursor is right in the middle here. All right, I've got my spoke selected. I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm going to switch to 3D cursor here and spin. I'm going to choose 360 degrees and 10 spokes. Just make sure they're not touching and they're fine. Okay. Great. Let's focus just on those now. And let's get rid of some faces. All these end faces, which I'm going to stick into the wheel. So we're not going to see them. So we need them. And these ones too. There we go. Let's make something that goes inside the hub here. Let's bring in a cube, scale it down, pull it up, position it. Okay, start with that. I'm going to select these edges and Control B to bevel. And I usually like around 5 segments. I'm going to grab that and bevel that as well. I'm going to take this piece E and S and pull in just a little bit. I'm going to extrude this down. I'm going to E and S again. I'm going to come in like this. Convert that to a circle, but pull in nicely. I don't want anything overlapping. I'm going to push it down. E and S. I'm going to bring that up. And I'll bevel this. And let's see if we can do anything with this. Might be able to put a small bevel on that. I think I'm going to actually put a bevel on there. That'll help tighten things up. And then what I can do is turn this to angle. And I'll add on weighted normal and auto smooth. Oh, there we go. We won't see that up close. I'm going to scale that just so it just fits. It's nice and large. Alright, this is something else in there. I'm going to put one on the other side if you want to. We can also add something else to this. Make some little clips that attach to the tire, because it's going to be split into pieces, as I'll show you in just a moment. So I'm just going to, let's see, what's the easiest way to do this? I don't know, an edge loop there, and I don't know, 3D cursor, oh, not there. Right there. And then take like that. I just want this about the width of the tire. Yeah, we can mess around with that. And I'll extrude that out. And let's get rid of that. And we'll snap to that edge. Okay. Let's see here. This whole thing would go in here, and we certainly don't want it that size. Something like that. Scale this in the Y. Doesn't have to see how big the tire is. We're also going to give this some thickness, so we'll do that. Let's see, put that in. Pull that in like this. Let's go ahead and add solidify. And still a little bit of thickness. I'll put on even thickness as well, something like that, so it's visible. I'm just going to go ahead and apply solidify. We'll try a little bevel. Okay, I can do all the same stuff that I usually do. All right, so that clip could be there, and then we could select this again. Take this and let's set the origin to the 3D cursor. And we can Shift D, rotate Z 180. I'll take the both of them and rotate it 90. And it doesn't have to be where the spoke is. Okay, this one doesn't have it. This one does. I'm looking at these kind of things. Okay, it's going to be where the split is, and I'll probably make it so that there isn't a spoke right there. You know, I might take these and this, rotate them, and Z a little bit like this, and we'll split. The split I'm going to do in Substance Painter. I'll draw that in. Okay, you can do bolts on these as well if you want to. Now, before we go any further, let's just check this, and you'll see that some of my polys are flipped. So Alt-N, recalculate outside. All these guys, Alt-N, recalculate outside. And this guy. Okay, let's select everything, go into edit mode, and M, merge by distance. There's nothing going on. Everything's fine. All right. We still need to do the metal bends, so let's do that. Let's do this by grabbing one of these edges here, Shift D, S to scale it out a bit, P to break it out. It'll inherit the subdivision surface from that, which is fine. We'll look from 1, E, and pull it down till I like the size of this. And then if I just come over to here, these ones are a bit narrower than those ones, so let's see if that's going to matter to us. We'll scale this in the Z and pull it down to here. We may do some adjustment on this hub as well. Scale that in a bit. Let's go E and Alt-S and pull down to give it some thickness there. Let's X faces those. We don't need those. Put an edge loop there and Control B, but roll your mouse back to 0 so you just have the two edges going up and down. Piece of metal, so we'll bring it close. We'll shade smooth. And I'm just going to scale that in just a bit. I like that for that size. So I'm just going to Shift D and duplicate it down. And try to get it roughly in the same kind of position. It was pretty close to those spokes. And that's fine like that. And let's take that Shift D and bring it over to here. And let's just hit S to scale and bring it down, and then we'll widen it out so it goes right to near the end. I think let's scale that in the Z and bring it down. And now I may make an adjustment on this. Let's see. Yeah, kind of right to the end. Now, mind you, if you look at another picture, yeah, it does go right to the end, doesn't it? And it kind of jabs right in. So let's scale Shift Z. Make it nice and tight. And we'll do this. And then we'll have to make an adjustment to this. Okay. And the way I think I'll do that is I think I'll take these and I will scale them in until I start to see that. Bring them down a bit. I think I may go for something like that. And I might scale this in the Z a bit bigger. That kind of thing. In which case, I can take the hub and slash key. And I might I've got this edge loop here. I might just cut it and mirror it. Take all these vertices, okay? And just add a mirror. And the Z, I'll put on clipping. And I'm going to apply that mirror. I'll just hit M and make sure there's nothing that I got to worry about. Close that. Slash key to bring everything back. And take this guy. I'll just copy it down. You can see that my metal bands are flipped. So let's grab all of these. Go to edit mode, Alt N, recalculate outside. Everybody's playing well together now. And there we are, ready almost to texture and substance painter. You have to deal with UV unwrapping. We'll do that next time.